Welcome everyone to this video tutorial. Today we'll be looking at HTML forms. The HTML form element defines a form that is used to collect user inputs. An HTML form contains form elements such as input elements like the text field, the checkboxes, the radio button, submit button, and many other elements. So today we'll be looking at how to create a form using HTML. Let's get started. We open our text editor. We put down HTML5 source code. Then we are good to go. Now to create a form, we use the form tag. So let us create the form tag. We put a form and press enter. This is the form tag, the opening tag and the closing tag. Now we want to start with the text input. So let me give it the title form. So this one we want to look at the text inputs. So I'm going to put a comment. The text inputs. That's the comments for you. Now, how can I create the text inputs? We're going to create the text input by first using the input type, which is equal to text. But before then, let us create a label. The label. Let's make this the first name. The first name. Now, this is the label. So we can now create, after the label, we'll now create the input type. We'll make the input type to be text input. Now, text can allow for alphanumeric characters. So let's put the inputs. This is the input type text. So we'll put the name of our form, and just use first name. Since the name of our form, this field here is first name. So the name of this field will be what? First name. So let's get more field. Let's use the break line. Use another break line. So then we'll do the same thing, create a label. We'll make this to be last name. And then we'll create an input tag, with type text. The input type is what? Text. So we'll create this. I will create the submit button. So let's create the submit button. Create the submit button. To create the submit button, the same input type. Then the input type for submit button is not text, it is submit. So we're going to write the submit here. Then let's give it the value. The value should be, let's say submit form. Let's say submit form is the value of the key of our submit button. Now we have the form. This is how you create a form. So let us save our work. Ctrl S. You right click the index.html. You click on copy to path or copy paths. Go to your browser. Then you paste this and you press enter. You can see we've created a form. So this is how you can create a form in HTML. Now we can also add what is called the radio button. Now what's a radio button? Radio button lets a user select one of a limited number of choices. Now let's create a radio button. So I'm going to put a comment across here. Let me put a comment here so that you know there's a radio button. The comment. And I put radio button. So let's put a radio button. So to create a radio button, you are going to use the radio button inputs. I repeat, you're going to use the radio button input. So let us put our input. So the input type will be radio instead of text. We don't use text because this radio button wants to create radio. But first, let us put a label. Let's put a label first. The label should be gender. So you can also put gender here for this label for depending on what you want. You can also put, so this is label gender. Now we have input type as radio. So we're going to give this a name and a value. So let's say the name is gender. The name of our input type is the input type is radio, while the name is gender. Then the value, let's say the value will be male for this particular field. The value will be male. Then we'll come outside here. This part will just make this male. Then we'll put a break line across it. So for not waste our time, let us just copy this. Let's copy this. Let's copy this and put it. We'll just bring the submit button down so that it should be downward. So I'll just put a break across this. So this is our label form. This should be label for male. Label for this should be female. So if you are doing this, that means we don't need anything here. This is already giving it a label, so we don't need anything here. You seen that already? So I can put the double break here. Sorry, I can put the double break here and this. So now we have the label for the first field is male. The label for the second field is female. The input type is radio. Name is gender. While the value of this is female. So we have male and female. The name of this radio button is gender, while the input type is radio. So let's save it and go to our index.html, copy paths, go to your browser, refresh this. So you can see male, I have female. So I can check here, check here. The radio button only allows users to select one of a limited number. So you can only be allowed to select just one. This is how you create a radio button. So let's move on to the next one, which is form action. Now I want to talk about form action. You can see this is I have form action. Form action enable you to what? To move to another web page. For instance, if I have another web page somewhere here, let's say about us.html or .php. If I click on submit button and I put it here, the submit button will enable what? This particular form action to locate me to another web page, which is about us.php or .html. So this is what I'm trying to explain. If for instance I put the form action to be, let's say about us.php. I don't have about us.php here, so then nothing will happen. But if I have a file called about.php, then I save it, I come to this browser, I click on submit, instantly this particular form will lead me to what? To the about.php. But because I don't have any file as about.php, that won't work. That is how we use the form action. When we get to JavaScript and PHP, maybe in our web development class, I'm going to show you how to use the form action to link to the database and some other PHP file, but that is not for this course. So we move on to the next one, which is method. Now what is method? Now there are two types of method. You can see we have the get method and the post method. So we're going to start with the get method. What is the get method? The get method is used when the get method is used, it is visible on the URL, it is visible on the address field or the address bar. For instance, if I put the get method here, then I see my work, I refresh my browser, you will see what will happen. Every of the data insert in this field will be showing in the address bar, this address bar. Now just watch. Now let me put my name. I put S. I put symbol. I put my last name. I just click me and click on submit. Now you see what happened. It has displayed the first name. The first name I put was Ernest. It now display the gender, which is me, although it did not display the surname, the full name. Now let me check why it did not display the full name. Yes, you can see we did not put name. So we're going to come here and put name as last name so that it should display the surname, which is the symbol. Now let's refresh. Let's clean everything here so I can refresh our browser again and you see what will happen. So I do this. I put my name, Ernest. I put the surname, Isibo. I put name, gender, and I put submit. You can see my first name, Ernest. I started Ernest as my first name. The last name is Sibo. I started Isibo as my first last name. And the gender, the value as the name of the gender, the value of the gender of this gender is male. So that is what I've just got in here. So that is the get method. So the get method exposes your data, exposes sensitive information about you on the URL or in the address bar, this address bar here. So it is advisable you shouldn't use a get method whenever you are sending sensitive data. It can be password or PIN. Please don't use the get method because it will what? It will just display it on the URL or the address link. And in that case, any person would have seen your sensitive or your secret PIN or password. So let us talk about the other type of method, which is the post method. Post method. Now, what is the post method? The post method does not display the submitted form data in the page address. The post method is the opposite of get method. It is advisable to always use post method if the data contains sensitive or personal information. Now I'm using the post method. Let's go to our browser and let me wipe this away, and you see the difference between the post and the get method. I refresh. I put my name Ernest, put my surname Sibo, May, submit. Now you can see after submitting, it did not show on the address link or in the address bar. It did not show there because we are using the post method. The post method. But when we use the get method, our sensitive data or information was showing in the address bar. This is the difference between the get method and the post method. So I repeat one more time, it is advisable to always use the post method whenever you are creating a form because it keeps sensitive information about you secret. So in our next class, we're going to look at some other form features like the checkbox, like the text area, and several other features. So thank you very much. I'll see you in our next class. Take care.